The longest intro in the history of intros. You guys thought I was exaggerating. I wasn't. And I think they get it longer each time just to bug me.
I try to add tracks.
You could be having a life on a Friday night. Instead, you're here with us now. Friday Night AMA with your host, Showtime George. Showtime George.
Oh, I hate that intro. Welcome, everybody, to the Friday Night Sleeperwire AMA. As a very annoying voice just a minute ago said, I am your host, Showtime George. With me, as always, doing all the dirty stuff in the background, we have Dirty Jobs Mike. And, of course, I can't go anywhere without my brother from another mother, Mr. Jason. We also have two very special guests with us tonight. The first guy needs absolutely no introduction. His name is Mike Faiella, a.k.a. Daddy's Home on Twitter. And the other guy may need an introduction, so I will go ahead and give him one. It is Ryan McDowell. He is the co-owner of DLF Football, and he's also does podcasts with Locked On Dynasty and DLF Podcasts. That's a mouthful. Ryan, Mike, how are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Doing well. Glad to be here with you guys. Should be a fun Friday night.
Yeah, man, I'm just stoked to be joining for your birthday, George. I mean, man, I just found out this is going to be a party tonight, so thanks for having us.
Birthday today. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, my God. I'm going to leave the room. I'm going to kick myself out.
Showtime George.
So if you haven't figured it out, Mike is going to be doing all types of stuff to annoy me throughout the podcast, the show. It is officially my birthday. I am 40 years young. Let's just get that out of the way. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Y'all raising a drink. I've got my little Diet Coke here. Let's get going. Mike, I want to start with you. We got coming up next week, Thanksgiving. Do you have any major plans for Thanksgiving?
Man, so yeah, Thanksgiving's a little different this year, isn't it?
It is.
Normally it is food, football. So that part's not going to change. Just getting some things dropped off, trying to stay with my mom more than anything else. So she's going to pop by just for like a little bit, but weather's not supposed to be great. We were hoping to do like an outside thing, but instead we're just going to do something virtual, get takeout, maybe hop on a Zoom and eat together, but then probably watch some decent football. Hopefully there's, decent matchups coming up. Not the best ones this year that I saw, but football's football, right? So that's kind of the plan so far.
I look at it like this. A bad day watching football is better than a good day at work. So I'll be more than happy to watch terrible football if I don't have to be at work.
Absolutely.
Ryan, how about you, sir? You got any big plans this year for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, man. Like Mike said, it's going to be very different. We normally host Thanksgiving at my house with both sides of the family, my family and my wife's, and unfortunately we've had to shut that down this year. So we're just keeping it with our crew here at the house, just my wife and I and three kiddos. So like Mike said again, we'll still do the food, we'll still do the football, but it'll have a different feel. And we actually my wife and I always go out shopping. It used to be Black Friday shopping and eventually kind of morphed into Thanksgiving shopping. And, normally that's not something I enjoy, shopping in general, but that is shopping on Black Friday it's an experience. For us, it's more of a people watching thing and just being kind of throwing ourselves into the madness. And if nothing else, it's a good excuse for a date night away from the kiddos. But we're not doing that this year either. So everything is going to have a different feel, but it'll be good, and the football will still be there. So
have either of you guys, and Jason, I want you to chime in too if you've done this. Have you ever gone out on like Black Friday shopping and stood in line for hours before a store actually opens? Like I know here in Florida, like we will have people that will camp out in front of a store, like a Best Buy or something like that. Like, is that something you guys have actually ever done? Or do you know anybody that's done that?
So let me tell you a funny story. It was probably maybe like
I love funny stories.
So it's probably like 9 years ago, and there was a Target. Legitimately, like you walked across a main road down the road to Target from my house. It was walking distance, and it was about 1 a.m. and I had a few cocktails. It's Thanksgiving. I was celebrating, and my buddy, who was a police officer, was at the front door of Target, and I didn't see this line of people. I walked up and shook his hand. I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "Hey, Mike, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, it's good. Just gonna go check out, see if I can get a laptop for my sister." And I walked in, and I was the most hated human being in Target, but I legitimately didn't see the line, and I just act like I belong there. And nobody stopped me. These people had been there since like 6 p.m, waiting to get into the store that was opening at 1. And I just walked in randomly, stupid and drunk, not paying much attention. Ended up getting a laptop, a Kindle, and a pressure cooker. I was in and out in 4 minutes. That was the only time in my life I've ever gone out on Black Friday. And I never did it again because the death stares that I got from people completely by accident, like it burned in my head. So I will never do it again.
Oh yeah, we've seen those people out. We've seen those every year in every store. No, we're not ones to wait in line. We're not ones to push or fight anybody over a TV or a computer or anything. Like I said, we really go for the experience, and we just kind of try to stand back and watch all the craziness happen. There have been times we've taken things out of our cart and given them to somebody else who was looking for whatever is on sale that time. But you definitely see some crazy stuff for sure.
So I could totally go for people watching. Like I'm down with that. Just sit back, watch all the craziness, watch people lose their minds right after being thankful for everything that they have. Like I'm all for that.
My wife and I for a couple of years had a tradition before we had kids, because once we had kids, we every once in a while had to get in the line for the hottest toy or whatever we had to get. But before we had kids, we had this tradition. We'd go sit in the food court at the mall, and I'd have a coffee and she'd have some iced tea thing or whatever. And we'd just sit at the mall at the food court near the exit so we could watch people like crushing each other trying to shop. So it was good. We, as far as lines go, I've gotten in line once or twice to get a deal on something for the kids, but nothing like I've camped overnight. The one time in story time, right? So one time we waited in line. It was kind of a mistake, or kind of not a mistake, but we weren't planning on waiting in line, but opportunity met like reality there, where it was right when the Nintendo Wii came out, the original Wii. And nobody could get them. And my wife, we had just had my daughter. And this was the first night that we didn't have my daughter in the house. My mom and my dad were going to watch my daughter and let us go out to dinner and have a night, because our anniversary is the day after, or the day before my daughter's birthday. So like our anniversary is the 30th. And her birthday's the 31st. So we were supposed to go out to dinner on our anniversary, and we ended up having my daughter instead the day before. So we were going to, so here's how bad it is. We were already old then. We were like, what are we going to do this night without my daughter? And we both looked at each other and went, grocery shopping without the kid. Right?
Life's little luxuries.
Yeah. So we go to Walmart to go grocery shopping, and we see like 2 people in line, and we're like, hey, what are you guys doing? And they were standing in line for a Nintendo Wii. There were supposed to be 10 of them. There were 2 people in line. So my wife and I got in line. We bought 2 Nintendo Wiis. We sold one of them for enough to pay for both. And that's the only time we actually waited in line for anything.
Jeez.
Nice.
Yeah. The only thing I've ever done, so I've gotten up early a couple times just to walk around, but I don't have a list to where like I'm going for this specific item or that specific item or something like that. I've just gone, walked around and be like, oh, look, this is cool. Hey, look, this is cheap. I'll grab it. But I'm not going for a specific item. My sister-in-law and her crazy ass side of the family, on Thanksgiving evening, like after dinner, whatnot, typically we would all go over to my brother-in-law's house. After dinner, they would all sit on the back porch and have like 5 or 6 Sunday papers. And because they all wanted the advertisements for all the stores, and they would literally map out like what store they're going to and who would be driving, so they could just drop off, run in, get what they want, come back out, and move right on to the next store without actually having to park the car, get a cart, or anything like they do this every single year for as long as I can remember. And I'm just like, you guys are absolutely insane. I couldn't do it. Just could not do it.
The only Target I've ever had, and shout out to my niece Julia, she's probably not watching, but she's 16 now. But if you remember Tickle Me Elmo, yep. I had to get my niece, she was, I think, 5 at the time. I had to get her a Tickle Me Elmo. I ended up finding 3 on eBay. I was getting ready to go to the store. It was like 1 a.m. I found 3 on eBay and got to go back to sleep, thankfully, because I got 1 for my niece. And then we sponsored 2 families as like Secret Santas for people less privileged, like buy their Christmas for them. So they got some too, like want to get something like the hottest toy rather than just all clothes for them. But literally was like putting on a sweatshirt, like miserable to go out at 1 a.m. and stand in line for one of these dolls, and nailed 3 on eBay like 5 minutes before I'm leaving the house. I felt like it was like a good deed, you know, finally being rewarded. But that was the only time I think I've ever felt like there was that have to have. My kids don't really have that. Like they've never really hit me with the Christmas is ruined if I don't get this. But for whatever reason, that year, my niece was going to lose it if she didn't get a Tickle Me Elmo. So we ended up grabbing one of those for her and ended up getting 3. But it was eBay that saved me from standing outside in 20-degree weather in Massachusetts in the middle of the winter. So thankful for that at least.
Ryan, you ever had to go get one of those must-have gifts for your kids or niece or nephews or anything like that?
No, my kiddos are the same as what Mike was saying. They've never they've never been after that hot toy necessarily, and it might be different this year. My son is hoping for a PS5, and
I was gonna ask.
yeah, that's probably not happening. But we've been able to avoid all the craziness with those. It was like the Cabbage Patch Kids when I was a kid.
Yeah. I mean, mine was Ninja Turtles. Like the only thing I ever really wanted when I was younger was Ninja Turtles. My parents got me a Ninja Turtle. It was like a little suitcase that you could put the individual turtles in. And what they did is I bought a bunch of action figures and threw them in there for me. And like, I thought that was the greatest Christmas gift I've ever gotten. But it was like something simple. It wasn't anything extravagant. Jason, how about you? You ever waited in line for that hot toy?
No, I didn't have to wait in line for hot toys. We waited in line for deals on toys, to try and get a discount, I guess. But, my son 2 years in a row wanted the Hot Wheels Ultimate Garage because each year was a different model. Like one had a pterodactyl on it, and I don't remember. One had a big gorilla. So like it was just different enough that he wanted the second one. But, you could get that toy any time of the year. So nothing stands out. I think I stood in line to get my niece a Furby years ago. And then last year I stood in line, or maybe 2 years ago, I stood in line for a Hatchimal for a friend. It wasn't for my kid. It was for one of my wife's friends. Like, we're desperate to get one of these things, and I wasn't working that day, so I said, screw it, why not just get up and get it for him?
So I pulled up this little question right here from Toilets to Titles. It's Justin. So we've been trying to steer away from fantasy football on these episodes. Like Mike does a ton of stuff on Twitter, and so does Ryan. Like Ryan does 1,000 podcasts and has 100 billion different shows that he does. Mike's got a few that he does as well. Like, we can get their fantasy advice from them anytime, any place. But like, when are you going to find out about Mike going out and getting some Tickle Me Elmos, right? Like he said they were for Family C sponsored. Like deep down, we all know like one of those was for him, and he still got it to this day. So
I sleep on a pile of them every night. They make me giggle.
I'm just
he sleeps on a pile of Tickle Me Elmo corpses.
They don't giggle anymore.
He makes a necklace out of their ears.
Oh, come on, man.
This is turning like
Dark.
twisted.
Hey, so
This is getting dark real quick.
one question I had for each of you guys: is there a meal, or not a meal, a side dish at Thanksgiving that you have that's different from everybody else? Something that you know the meme that's going around: don't take pictures of your meal because we all eat the same shit. But like, is there something for Thanksgiving that you guys have that's outside of turkey and corn and green beans and cranberries?
I don't think there is for us. We're pretty standard.
Yeah, same here. Like green bean casserole maybe, but I feel like that's like traditional for a lot of people. So, I know you have something that's weird, Jason. I know that's why you brought the question up.
Well, I'm not. This year I'm doing smoked mac and cheese because I found the smoked mac and cheese recipe that's online that is absolutely amazing. So everybody wants it. We do a thing, cheesy carrots, that George makes a face at. He's never eaten them, but we're doing those again. I
struggle with the combination of cheese and carrots. It just, I don't know.
I mean, it's fantastic. So,
sounds fine.
Except, listen, carrots are okay. Cheese is good. Like, how do you not like that? But one of these days I'll get you to try it.
So you guys all do. I mean, maybe this is different. I don't know. You guys all do the sweet potatoes with the marshmallows on top to make them able to be eaten. Yeah, that's pretty much what we got. So
I feel like I have to ask this. Going around the table, is it cranberry sauce? When you do that, does it have the whole cranberries, or is it just the gelled without the cranberries? Like,
I like both. Yeah, I like both, but I grew up on the canned stuff.
Same here. How about you, Mike?
Yeah, my grandma hates us because she'll make the homemade one and everyone will eat the canned stuff because it slices nice on the sandwich, right? So it just sits there and it looks
if
nice.
You get that, if you get that end piece, it has the outline of the can, right?
Yep. Oh, that's how you know you get the good stuff. You put that on some Wonder Bread and you get the handprint on top, and you get yourself a Thanksgiving sandwich. I need the indents to know I did it right. So yeah, no question, the canned stuff.
So I'm with you though, because my mom makes this cranberry jelly kind of stuff that's not the can. So it's but I do miss the can when we don't have it. I'll bring some of my own can.
So am I the only one? And again, it probably doesn't apply to this year because and Ryan already said that he does dinner at his house, so it probably doesn't apply to him either. But like, if you're going to somebody else's house for Thanksgiving dinner, is it rude to bring your own to-go trays?
I bring a backpack with Tupperware, man. No, I'm going home with anything I get my hands on because that's the best part of Thanksgiving. I mean, the dinner's nice, right? But the leftovers is where it's at.
If you're not doing it at your house, you have to bring something like Tupperware to come home with you. And I go to 2 houses, sometimes 3 houses for Thanksgiving every year. So I go to my parents, I go to my wife's parents, and then we occasionally will go to my wife's aunt and uncle's. And I will bring Tupperware to each because there's good shit at each one of them. So like, my mom makes the cheese carrots and the best stuffing. So that shit comes home with me from her house. The turkey's a little bit better at my in-laws' house. So I get the turkey from there. And then when I go to my wife's aunt and uncle, they actually make like a Southern potato salad and deviled eggs. And that shit comes home with me too.
All right. So now I have to ask. We'll start with Mike, then we'll go Ryan, then Jason. And then I'll finish it off. Turkey. How do you like your turkey? Do you like it baked in the oven? Do you like it fried? What do you prefer?
I've honestly only had it one way. I've only had it in the standard kind of put it in the oven, wait for the little thing on the butt to pop, and then it's good, and then slice it up. So I've never had it any other way. So I guess that's the only way I like it. I guess the best answer.
Yeah, clearly. Ryan, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, same for me. Mike and I are sharing a brain tonight, but I think that's the only way I've ever had it. I don't know. I stay out of the kitchen.
So George and I have opposite. George likes a fried turkey, and listen, I love
fried turkey.
I
like
do not
smoked
mind
turkey too.
I don't mind a fried turkey, but dude, when I cook a turkey, it's like a 3.5 day process. I brine it overnight, then I pull it out and I pat it down and I let it dry in the fridge. So the skin gets dry, but the meat stays moist from the brine, and then I smoke it for 6 to 7 hours, and that's how I like to make my turkeys.
All right,
and Bob's with me.
So I'm just gonna say it, like Ryan and George, I'll pick you guys up once COVID's over. I think we're going to Jason's for Thanksgiving. I mean,
well, so Jason only lives
merrier.
like 35, 40 minutes from me. Like when we were talking before you guys got on, Jason's just getting back into his house today. He had the air conditioning replaced, and then he had to have some drywall work done, and he just got the air conditioner put in today. And my brother and my friend went over and did all that work for him. So Jason and I, like, we work together. We're local, so I don't have that far of a drive to get there. I'll just give you the directions, though.
All right, we'll be down once it's safe to do so. I mean, seems like a lot less effort to go get a brine turkey, and he's doing the parade to pick up food from everyone else. I'm
just going to make Jason bring it to work for me because he works in the building directly across from me. So now Jason's job is to bring me food. What is, and I feel like we're doing a lot of food talk for some reason, and maybe it's because I'm fat and Jason's fat, but we always end up talking about food on the show, and it's amazing. Going to circle back real quick to the stuffing. Do you like the out of the box stovetop, or is it got to be homemade, or what's your preference? And do you like it with or without gravy?
Yeah, I'll eat whatever. The stuffing is the best part. So
it is.
Out of the box is okay. Homemade obviously is even better. With gravy, yes, for sure.
So the one thing you don't get with smoked or fried is you don't get the stuffing that goes in the bird. You know what I mean? Like that, and that's what I think you miss when you smoke it. That's what I think you miss when you fry it. You can't stuff the bird with the stuffing. And honestly, if the bird's been stuffed with the stuffing, I don't care if it's homemade or out of the box. It's all delicious because it's getting all those turkey juices. But personally, I like the homemade stuff better.
Yeah, I'm definitely going homemade. What is it? The Bell seasoning, the little yellow box. You put that with the stuffing bread, get some celery and onions that have been sauteed, throw that in the bird. Absolutely needs the gravy, and then for the sandwiches, you need the mayo on top. You need something to make that, moisten that up. I know people love that word. Otherwise, you get that stuff stuck to the top of your roof of your mouth. So it has to be something to make it moist. So I'm going gravy the day of, and then mayo the day after.
Yeah, I'm 100% out of the box. For some reason, I don't like, homemade stuffing. But give me that stovetop right out the box. I'll eat it for days. I don't care. We got a question here from Bob, and Bob, this was definitely going to get asked, but you asked it before I could, so I threw it up here. Jason, we'll start with you. Your top Thanksgiving Day pies.
See, it's tough. We don't do a lot of pie. I'm not a big pie. I'm really not a pie guy. I usually make the banana pudding, and that's what we have for dessert.
Ooh.
Okay.
Hold on. I want to hear what he makes the banana pudding, because my favorite dessert of all time is Magnolia Bakery's banana pudding in Grand Central Station with the Nilla wafers put in there. Is that how do you make it?
No, it's an old Southern recipe that I found online years ago, and it's got chessmen cookies. So it's chessmen cookies. It's cream cheese. It's cream cheese. It's condensed milk. It's pudding mix, it's milk, and let's see what else, and whipped cream, and you kind of mix it all together, and then obviously bananas.
Oh yeah,
and
I knew I was forgetting something.
But it's honestly the best dessert I've ever had. So it's like we do that every year, and it kicks ass.
I mean, you're going to swap recipes. So I got to give this a go, because the one that I have is condensed milk, whipped cream, bananas, pudding mix, and then the Nilla wafers. out of the box, but you got to leave them in there for 2 days so they get nice and mushy. Otherwise, you don't want the crunchy one. But that's from Magnolia Bakery in Grand Central, and I found it online how to make it because I used to actually go to New York just to get it and shoot home with it. So 2.5 hour, 3 hour train ride just for pudding. That's how good this stuff is. So we'll have to trade recipes. I want to check yours out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Chessman Cookies one that's the best.
It's right. Yeah.
I think that's like I forgot the lady's name.
Paula Dean.
Yeah. I think that's supposed to be her recipe. Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it wasn't. So when I found it online years ago, it was just called Southern something.
Oh, okay.
It would not. So the only reason that I would question whether or not it was Paula Dean's is there's no butter. But
oh yeah, she likes butter.
She slightly likes butter. Yes.
But when I found it online years ago too, Paula Dean was going through that streak where there was where she was having trouble with racism. So maybe they just knocked her name off the recipe so they could continue to put it on there. I don't know.
That was a polite way to explain what happened.
Say, it's a rough streak to go through.
Yeah, it is.
Just a little racist streak. It's fine. I had just a little racist streak.
Just had a case of the racism. I guess took some medicine. I mean, I don't know how you get over that streak.
It's just like a headache, isn't it?
No, it's a side effect. It's another side effect of COVID. You just
okay.
how every time you turn around, there's another COVID side effect. Racist streak is the final one, I think.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man. Ryan, do you have a let's try to get back to the pie talk. This is safer. Ryan, do you have a favorite pie?
We don't really do much pie either. There's always a pumpkin pie around, which is fine. Maybe I'll eat it, maybe not. In general, I prefer apple pie. So if that's there, that's what I'm picking.
So my wife makes pumpkin pie every year. And what she does is she buys the pumpkin, she'll bake it in the oven, and she purees it. And she uses that as the part of the pumpkin versus pumpkin out of the can. And it's 1,000 times better. It's become one of my favorite pies. So
I was supposed to get one of those at some point.
Yep. You're still going to get one of those at some point. So I didn't say when. At some point. So some point is in the future, and once we get there, it'll be that point versus some point.
So Josh said that I was tactful there. I think I ruined it at the end by calling it a COVID.
So we're actually I'm gonna ask this real quick fantasy question. It's because it's not really a fantasy question. It's more a survivor pool. He feels he's pretty safe here with his fantasy. He wants to know about his survivor pool. His options are, Chargers at the Jets, Panthers at the Lions, Vikings at the Cowboys, Saints at Atlanta, or Miami at Broncos.
I like Miami in that group. The rest of them are close. I mean, the Chargers, I love what Herbert's doing, but they're not winning. The Lions, you got the injury of Stafford as a concern. The Vikings and the Cowboys is and actually switched that, by the way. The Vikings are home. I know that because I'm only playing Kirk Cousins in home games. He doesn't play well on the road. So it is Cowboys at Vikings. But yeah, with Taysom Hill at quarterback or Jameis or both, I'm staying away from that game. Miami's the only one that I even feel remotely comfortable about, and that feels gross, but that's all I got.
Yeah, it's actually Jets at Chargers as well, and that's enough of a difference for me. The Chargers don't travel well, so if it was in New York, I would stay away from that one. But at home, I'll take the Chargers there.
That was the one that stood out for me as well. Was the Chargers over the Jets? Jason, you got one?
I'd go Miami. I'm going Miami at the Broncos.
I want to save that. I want to save that for later on in the year when I can do Miami at home versus the Jets.
That's true.
Just pick the team playing the Jets. I think you're safe.
Every week.
You're safe there. Absolutely.
Right up until they fire Adam Gase.
Correct. They won't do it because then the chance the team might rally around and win a couple of games and knock themselves out of Trevor Lawrence contention. So that's the only reason. That's my theory on why they haven't fired Adam Gase yet. Is if the team actually rallies behind whoever they put there as new coach, they might win a game or two, and then it becomes really suspect on whether or not they're going to finish with the worst record to guarantee themselves Trevor Lawrence.
I just checked quickly. I had a bunch of notifications, and they're all smoked turkey recipes from my friends in the chat here.
So fantasy intervention, you've never had turkey legs. I've had turkey legs at the fair. I prefer the dark meat when I'm doing Thanksgiving dinner. How about you guys? White meat, dark meat, what you going there?
Right. So I know me and Ryan have one addiction in common. So I've had plenty of turkey legs at Walt Disney World multiple times. So there's no question I've had turkey legs. I get them from Gaston's Tavern. That's right. And that's how I roll. And I love every bit of them. And it only costs you a snack. Doesn't even cost you a meal. So it is the best deal at Walt Disney World as far as I'm concerned. It's a full lunch for free.
Yeah. Mike, forget meeting up at Jason's place. We're just going to meet at Disney.
No doubt.
45 minutes for me and Jason.
So
and the other Mike.
This is my luck too. So this is the last Christmas. My wife and I for Christmas bought the kids Disney World season tickets, like year-long passes. And we probably went from January to March, we probably went 12 times to one of the parks, right? And then COVID hits, and we haven't been back. So it's kind of rough. We got our refunds. We're gonna do it again once it's safe. But it was just kind of a bummer because we dropped $1,800 on 4 tickets, right? Like it was a big deal for us money wise to go and buy these things. Mm-hmm. Kids were so excited. I hadn't been to Disney since I was probably 22. I'm 40 now. Like it'd been a long time, and we've been to the other parks, but there is something different about Disney. And it's not just the turkey legs, but man, it is the fucking turkey legs too. Right?
Turkey legs help. Yeah, we got lucky. We got there. So I go every January. This year we're actually pushing it out because of the COVID situation. But we got there in January. We were able to get on Rise Resistance. My son's a huge Star Wars fan, so we got on Millennium Falcon. We got on Rise of the Resistance. So I feel happy that at least we got there right before everything happened, because that was a big deal for us. Star Wars year this year was the one we were looking forward to. Yeah. We were going to go again this January. Other than one, I think Ratatouille was the only ride that was opening up. We weren't missing a ton, so we're just going to push it out to be safe. But normally you can find us there every January. Because the one thing they do, my kids have a special diet because of a genetic disorder they have. And the one thing Disney is great about is they take care of every kid, no matter what their needs are, every kid is the same. So it's literally a godsend for us. So there's a lot of reasons we go to Disney. Turkey legs are absolutely on the list. But they just take care of people so well. So we're going to push it out to the fall. We're going to go probably try to hit the, not so scary Halloween party for the first time in a while. But it'll be the first time that we haven't been there in a January since probably 2010. So it'll be a little different this year, but worse things have happened in life. Right. So,
yeah, so we did Rise of the Resistance. So the last day we went was actually my 40th birthday. We went March 11th. Just my wife and I went to Disney, and we did Rise of the Resistance. We did, like you said, you did the Falcon run. We got to pilot the Millennium Falcon. Dude, it was the coolest day. If you're a Star Wars geek, that is literally the coolest place to be.
So amazing.
So I kick myself for not buying a lightsaber. We talked about it at the time, and it was like over $100. It was like $200, and we're like, you know what? We'll come back and get one later. Nope.
Don't ever use the excuse we'll come back and get one later, because that may not be factually true. You got to do it. Yeah. If the opportunity presents itself, you got to do it. Justin says he likes his turkey hammed. So do we prefer ham or turkey on Thanksgiving? If you had to have one, what would you guys go with?
You got to go turkey. I will say my father-in-law, though, prefers ham, is a ham, and prefers ham. And so we always have both on a normal Thanksgiving. So yeah, I usually don't have to choose.
So we're ham on Easter and Christmas and turkey on Thanksgiving. So we definitely do both. We just spread them across the holidays.
So I prefer ham in almost every situation, just not on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you gave me the option of ham or turkey at pretty much any time of the year besides Thanksgiving Day, it's ham. But just something about turkey on Thanksgiving.
I agree. It's gotta be turkey Thanksgiving. Fallon says she wants to try real fried turkey. She's had air fried turkey, but fried turkey is the best. I can tell you, truly fried turkey is the best. If you're frying it, you have to be super careful. As Jason suggested, take your fryer, put some water in it, and then put the turkey in to see how high the water goes up. Mark it. And then dry your take it out, mark where the water was at, dump it out, dry it off, and then fill your oil up to there. This way you're not guessing on if you got enough oil so it spills over or not. But it could be very dangerous, but man, it is absolutely the best.
Really important to dry it back out because water in that chamber will cause issues.
Yes,
so
it
really
will.
important to dry it back out. Don't skip that step.
Yeah, that is kind of an important step. Nate says, Mike, you need to try his smoked turkey.
Yep.
And
so Nate and Bob are blowing up my mentions right now, and the DMs with all the smoked turkey. So I will be out in Colorado at some point soon, Nate. Like I told you, get the smoker ready. Let's do this.
Stuffing all kinds of way.
Oh no! Get him out of the chat.
Justin, I can't listen. Justin's going to be on that show with us on Sunday. We'll get him then, Mike. But he's dead wrong with that one. Like that's a terrible take.
No, that's not surprising considering the last time I did the game day show with him, he's wrong about a lot of stuff. So this is just another one to add to the list.
Dirt cake.
Sorry, Justin, love you, buddy.
I'm gonna have to ask what dirt cake is, just because I'm kind of curious. Dana says
dirt cake is like that's like pudding and Oreo, like crunched up Oreos and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a trifle in a way, like it's one of those like layered things. Yeah, it's pretty good.
All right, Dana, I have to ask, what is your favorite side? As a vegetarian, I understand you passing on the turkey, but what is your must-have side? Like, what if you're still watching? I hope you are. Tell us what your go-to side is. We're curious. So Justin says his son's vegan as well. They pretty much make 2 Thanksgiving dinners. So I also have 2 Thanksgiving dinners. So my mom got tired of doing the whole, are you coming over to my house this year or are you going to your mother-in-law's or whatnot? So what she started to do probably 5 or 6 years ago is she started hosting Thanksgiving dinner at her house the weekend before Thanksgiving. So this Sunday, I'm having Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' house. And then on Thanksgiving, I will get a second Thanksgiving dinner here at my house. And I'll tell you what, that is the absolute best way to have a Thanksgiving dinner, is 2 of them.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. I think a lot of people might rush around and go to 2 spots, maybe one for lunch, one for dinner on Thanksgiving Day. And as good as 2 Thanksgiving meals are, spreading them out is probably a better idea.
It's worked great for my family. My mom, like I said, she just got tired of when are you coming over here or what's going on, and we've done it like this for so long. I can go over there, enjoy the day, not have to run around, relax. I'm not worried about, okay, I'm going to spend an hour here at my mom's, then an hour and a half at my in-laws, and then an hour and a half over here at our friends. Like, we don't have to worry about any of that. And it definitely takes the stress off of Thanksgiving Day. Skip the football talk. My favorite holiday is Thanksgiving. You guys have any special traditions you do on the holiday? Aside from special foods, me and my cousin rip shots and sit by a fire telling stories. You guys have any Thanksgiving Day traditions?
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually sitting by a fire drinking like an hour ago, so I don't know. Maybe I took your tradition and just did it early.
It's a weekend tradition, right?
Exactly.
Fallon just got pulled over and didn't get a ticket.
Oh, no.
Today's a good day. So yeah, that's good if you didn't get a ticket, but don't be doing stupid stuff, Fallon, to get pulled over.
Yeah, I mean, instead of talking to the cop, she's on here messaging us.
maybe she told them I was watching these guys. That's why I was breaking the law. and they're like, oh, okay, well then you're not going to get a ticket.
And maybe we got another listener.
I wonder if he had a question for Ryan. Did she ask?
Maybe he wanted to tell us what his favorite pie was.
He could have, yes.
Oh yeah.
Dana says she's kicking herself in the butt for not playing Chase Edmonds. Her other RBs are Gio, Melvin, Gordon, and Damian Harris. I'm leading Gio, but I'm into playing Harris. Who would you guys play of that group?
I think I'd go Harris this week with that matchup. I think it's Houston, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Houston.
Yeah. I mean, you can run on Houston. Harris has been heating up I think he's been a top 20 running back to the last 3, something like that. Yeah, I'd go Harris there.
Yeah, I mean, Harris just went 21 for 120 against the Ravens defense, which is far more stout than Houston. Really, Cam, ever since COVID, hasn't been running much. He hasn't been the goal line back we saw in the first 4 weeks. I love the usage, love the matchup. I actually have Harris as a smash play this week, probably top 12. So I don't love Gio. I don't love the matchup. If I remember correctly, he's Washington, which is a stout front 7.
Yeah.
I don't love that matchup for him. So I'd be going Harris almost without question. And Melvin Gordon, to be honest, I can't see putting him in my lineup anytime soon. There's just nothing there anymore.
And P. Ryan got so much work last week for the Bengals. That kind of scares me a little bit with Gio.
Yeah, he almost took over that, like the goal line role. So those 6-point rushes are so important in fantasy. You can light it up between the 20s and still only be maybe top 15 to 17. If you're not getting those goal line carries, you won't be a top 10 back. It just won't happen.
Look at us talking football.
Yeah, totally off track from Thanksgiving.
Listen, we're not talking football no more, okay?
We got 40 minutes in. We did pretty well.
Listen,
yeah, we did pretty good.
I was worried this would be the Taysom Hill pod, so I'm happy.
No, we will not even bring that name up on this show. If anybody asks, your question is not getting answered.
So George, you remember Brian Hoyer night? I have tweeted more about Taysom Hill to get people riled up than I did about Brian Hoyer that night. So,
you should have messaged me. I would have gotten in on that with you.
Oh. Yeah, the night that Brian Hoyer started for the Patriots, I must have put up 17 MVP tweets, and he was absolutely bombing that just to see how many followers would leave. Just sure annoying.
It was such a great night, wasn't it?
Oh, I had so much. We were going back and forth. I was dying.
Oh, this is great. So I got the response from Dana here. She said her favorite go-tos for Thanksgiving is macaroni and pizza. So I have to ask, what is the oddest thing you guys have had for Thanksgiving dinner? Like, I think pizza would be odd.
We've actually done pizza on Thanksgiving. One year when my parents were out of town and we had issues, there had been a death in the family on the other side. So they weren't into doing the whole traditional Thanksgiving dinner. So we just kind of had a pizza and brought it home. So that, I mean, listen, pizza's always good, right? Even the worst pizza is good pizza. Mm-hmm. So it's not that it was bad. It just wasn't traditional.
I can't think of anything, actually. Pizza is always good, though. You're right.
Listen, 7-Eleven pizza is good pizza, right? Like, it's not good for
I think I'm drawing the line. I think that's where the line is drawn, though.
Have you had
if you're going lower? If you're going lower than 7-Eleven pizza, like I'm not inclined to agree that is just going to be good.
Have you had 7-Eleven pizza? I'm just saying. Anybody?
No, I can honestly say I've never had 7-Eleven pizza. I'm not doubting that it's good, but I'm saying that there is a line that has to be drawn in the sand somewhere to say any pizza below this level is probably not that good. And I feel like 7-Eleven is probably where that line should be drawn.
Maybe one step above that. But I
But
don't
like,
know.
I'm not going to Circle K for pizza. That's just not happening. Okay.
No, that's probably not. That's probably a good bet. It's probably a good bet. You don't know how long Circle K pizza's been on the roller.
This is true. So Justin says, sure, no football talk when Justin asks, but when anybody else does, all because I don't like stuffing. You're 100%
No, that gets
correct.
that
We-
gets
we
your
are-
question bounced.
We are discriminating against you and your anti-stuffing self. Let me see. We got some more questions here. Nope. They're just talking to each other. Here you go. Using bourbon and brown sugar and inject fried turkey this year. Adobo rub on the outside. I think that sounds pretty good.
I listen to anything Beryl tells me, so I'm down. We'll do that.
Yeah, we were making fun of Beryl in another chat, saying you can't trust pharmacists who have spiderweb tattoos and a teardrop. He's a prison pharmacist. Bob, I put Jason backstage. Unfortunately, he invited himself back. The lunchroom square pizza from elementary school is the goat of school lunches. Does anybody disagree with that?
So the Mexican pizzas that were in a hexagon, those were pretty damn good too. And when I worked at my last job, we had a guy whose wife worked in the school cafeteria. So we would have Mexican pizza Wednesdays. He would bring a sleeve of those pizzas in, and we had a toaster oven, and we'd cook them. That shit.
Wow.
Those were the best days at work.
Well, I am a 5th grade teacher, so yes, I can confirm.
I'm still going to go Steakums. I'm sorry. The Steakum Day was my favorite. I don't know what they were made out of, but the what looked like Philly cheesesteaks, just in a little format that was kind of too hardened to be actual steak. That was my jam.
I'm just glad you didn't say the meat, because I feel like if you would have called that meat, I'd have had to call you out and say that was not meat.
No, whatever it was kind of delicious.
You definitely clarified.
Well, you know how they can't call American cheese like Kraft cheese? They don't call it cheese; they call it cheese product.
Yep,
that was meat product.
Yes, and it was delicious.
So I feel like this right here is a heart attack waiting to happen. Macaroni stuffing pizza dipped in gravy. If you're wanting to go into cardiac arrest, I feel like this is the way it starts.
So I now have a challenge to figure out how to make this. I don't know what this is, but I might make it.
Bob says only in Florida can you have an argument over a gas station pizza.
Bob, you need to start living your best life and get some 7-Eleven pizza.
Barry says people have been shot in Florida for less, and I can agree. I can attest this. This is absolutely true. People have been shot for less than arguing over gas station pizza. Dana wants to know, what is your go-to drink? Ryan, we'll start with you on this one. Do you have a go-to drink? And I don't know if she means alcoholic or not, but we'll just pretend that she's talking about an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah, I'm not a huge drinker. Being in Kentucky, I've got we've got some bourbon in the house, but probably my go-to drink is cherry Coke, actually.
Okay, Mike.
I am old-fashioned myself. High West is my bourbon of choice. I could go Woodford though if I have to. That's probably as high level as I can afford. The rest of them get a little much.
Sorry, Mike. We've got all these distilleries. There's a Bullet distillery half a mile from my house. So, it's just always funny to have these conversations and hear about Woodford, and that's 30 minutes down the road. And they're all just within an hour's drive.
There is only one reason to live in Kentucky, and it's to be by the bourbon.
That's fair. That's fair.
All I heard was from my road trip, I'm doing adult Disney with Ryan in Kentucky on our way to regular Disney. We're going to do Bourbon first, then Disney World. This is going to be the best trip ever. Jason's going to cook for us. I'm stoked now. I am stoked.
Seriously, when you come to Disney next time, I will make you. I'll come by the house. We'll cook. I'll cook it up right. Have George over. We'll do some good food.
Yeah, we've got the Bourbon Trail here, so it's just the tour of the distilleries that people do, which I've actually never done. It's one of those, sometimes you take those local things for granted, and you don't actually ever do them yourselves, whether it's like a museum or something like this. So I need to go do that at some point, but I've heard good things, obviously.
So I know you put this one up about the bourbon, but I have to go back to this. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but cranberry sauce drizzle sounds fucking amazing.
But what are we drizzling it on? Was that pizza?
That was on the pizza macaroni stuffing.
That's
thing,
what it
right?
says, but I am thinking of cranberry drizzle on French toast as a Thanksgiving breakfast.
Oh, that sounds nice.
That does sound nice. Thank you, Dana, because I know what I'm doing Thursday morning.
Jason, I will have 911 on standby for when you try this and your heart stops working.
No, so that morning I'm not going to do the stuffing and whatever, the macaroni pizza but I am going to do French toast with a cranberry sauce drizzle because that sounds freaking delicious. That sounds like a pregame for Thanksgiving dinner.
I got to figure out what is going on. Every time I join you guys, we are putting cranberry drizzle on something. Last time we were making grilled cheese with mayo. I'm trying to be a respectable football podcaster, and you fools got me out here talking about food all the time.
Well, here's the problem, right? So here's your problem. The first time I'd give you a pass, but this is your second trip. You knew what you were getting into.
Oh, it's my own fault. I know.
Yeah.
It is my own fault.
Oh man!
This show typically, and I'm blaming it 100% on the holidays, right? Like, we're in 2020. Let's face it, has been a shit show. So I'm not even going to try to sugarcoat it. It's just been a shit show. So if we can talk about food and like food makes everybody happy. So if the worst thing we're talking about this tonight is food, I'm game with that because you really can't go wrong with talking about food.
I mean, we did. I won't bring it back to Paula Dean. We'll just
no.
That's probably the worst.
Backstage again.
Better to be safe than sorry. Proper precautions must be taken, and I felt like that was 100% necessary.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fair.
Are you good now, Jason?
I'm good.
Thank you.
Hold on. I feel a little.
Send him to timeout.
I did it to myself on that one. I had to say Paula Dean one more time, and then I sent myself backstage.
Sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, no. So, man, do you guys get? I know you're a teacher, Ryan. So it sounds like you're gonna get time off. But from work, do you guys get time off? George and I work a whole lot of hours, and we probably actually even work Friday. Just guessing.
They've already told me 2 of our units are working both Thursday and Friday.
Right. So, do you guys get time off with work? I know, like I said, Ryan, you're a teacher, so you get like weeks off for this shit. But Mike.
Yeah, I got Thursday and Friday. We usually get those kind of. They act like it's, a really nice thing they're doing. In reality, they just don't do enough business to justify keeping the lights on in the office, I think. But either way, I'll take the day off, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean, so I had a job, and this is going back years, but in Cocoa Beach, we have this pier, and they say it's world famous, but nobody's ever heard of it unless you're from Cocoa Beach. But, I will say that it was so slow those days, but we still had to work. Like, so we'd get 2 customers, they'd pay you to sit there and not sell anything, but it was still open. So don't think that like these companies won't keep you there on a day just because they're not making money.
Jen, you missed the beginning part of the show. We did actually talk about this. We've gone Black Friday shopping, but it's mostly to people watch. Mike is the only person who is actually gone out looking for specific items to get, and he actually landed them on eBay before he had to leave the house. But for the most part, it was just, we go out to people watch.
Yeah, you missed a really good section there, so go back and listen to it. It got dark.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember who did that in this show, but it
could have been anybody.
It was.
It could have been anybody. Anybody named Jason. So Ryan, let me ask you this. I know you do a ton of work with Scott Fish for Toys for Tots. How is Scott doing that this year? Like, I know he didn't open up like he typically does for donations. Everything was done through the Potathon. Right. How are you guys going about doing the shopping this year for Toys for Tots?
Yeah, so we've actually been talking about that just this week, and which is probably a little bit of a later start than we've normally gotten on that, but essentially just trying to spread it out across the country. Scott shops, I shop, John Bosch, Sal Lito, George Kritikos, and Matt Price as well. I'm probably missing a couple of people that are involved in that as well, but really just trying to spread it out as much as possible so we can keep those groups, those shopping groups and those trips smaller. I know the Marines and Toys for Tots have had to put some limitations on what they can even accept. And unfortunately, because of that, it sounds like donations are down really almost across the country. Everybody from those different areas I was mentioning were chiming in, and that seems to be the case all over the country. So it's going to be, for a lot of families, more important than ever. And even if it's a smaller trip, we're excited to give back and to represent the fantasy football community that way.
So that's interesting because Jason and I also raised money for Toys for Tots.
Yeah.
We raised a little over 11,000 this year. I've been in contact with the lady that runs it for us, not the Marine Corps. She's the warehouse supervisor, and like she hasn't told us that there's any restrictions on anything that they can take or anything like that. And I'm just not sure if that's because it's a different region, being down south where Florida is a lot more open than the other states are right now, or how that works.
Yeah, I think maybe I misspoke or wasn't clear. I think it actually comes down to, and I don't know what that looks like for you guys normally, but they're almost requiring it to be larger amounts. So if it's less than, I think 10,000 was the number. If it's a smaller party is what they typically call them. If it's a smaller party than 10,000, it's just going to look different for how they get those donations in, basically. But it sounds like you guys are going to be in good shape with that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to check with because we do the same. So Scott does his own thing, and we kind of modeled what we do a little bit after what Scott does, where we also send money out. So we were planning on sending money to Detroit, and we were sending money to Colorado, and we were only planning on sending. I think we were giving them each like 1,500 or 2,000 or something like that. And so I'm not sure how that's going to work. So I guess I'll have to get with them to get with their specific Toys for Tots rep to find out if they'll even be able to accept it. Because like this was news to me.
Yeah, it probably just comes down to what that process looks like for each individual person. I know with us in the past, even though we've been blessed that those have been larger trips. Last year we were able to spend $10,000 in Louisville. We actually transported the toys from the stores to the warehouse, the donation area, where I know sometimes they'll send Marines out, or they'll send representatives out, volunteers out, And I think that's what they have to. That's actually what they're limiting.
Right. Okay. So they're not sending a Marine unless they hit a specific mark.
Right.
You can still take.
That's my understanding, at least.
Okay. Yeah. That's so. We've always taken it directly to the center. We had and I keep talking about it because the people that donate to us to play in our fantasy football leagues, I can't thank them enough on any platform I can ever say it. And we talked about it because one thing that George and I were upfront about and have continued to be upfront about is that when we buy prizes for these leagues, they come out that money comes out of George and mine's pocket, and then whatever gets donated actually goes to toys. We don't take any of that money back, and we never will. So we were talking about, that we had zero overhead, and one of our great listeners, one of our great donators actually gave us money to rent a U-Haul, because that's another thing that we pay for every year out of pocket. Is every year we go and we rent a U-Haul, and somebody like specifically said, you guys do so much, this you can't turn around and give to kids. I mean, I guess we could give them a U-Haul gift certificate, but I don't know that that's and so that, again, it's just touching like how charitable this fantasy group, this fantasy community that everybody's built up is. It's just amazing.
Yeah, I forget who posted on Twitter. Somebody posted, what's the one thing you're most proud of about being in the fantasy community? And that was my thing, is how charitable everybody is. It's probably one of the most charitable communities I've ever seen. So kudos to the entire fantasy community for that. Like I said, it's just words can't even describe it. I'm at a loss for words for how good the community is on that front. We do have a question here, and it's about food, so we will address it. Gas station nachos. Can the kids have those? Yes, gas station nachos, absolutely. But you have to have the gas station cheese and the chili. If you're not doing it with the chili, you're doing it wrong.
So there's two things about this.
He's shaking his head like, no.
It's food, so of course I have a tip for it, right? So, but two things, like it goes movie nachos, then gas station nachos. But you're doing it wrong if you put the chili and the cheese on the nachos. I learned this trick from somebody at 7-Eleven. Yeah, 7-Eleven again. Years ago, is you take the bag of chips out of the container, you fill the container with chili and cheese, and you take the bag home separately, and then you just have a shit ton of chili and cheese to dip your nachos in.
So I'm thinking.
I think me and Ryan are in the same mindset again. I think we're sharing the mindset again of what is wrong with you too.
I don't think I've never had gas station nachos or pizza. Actually,
listen, I've had gas station nachos. It's probably been years, right? It's not like every Saturday I'm going to the gas station for food, right? Like that's just not happening. But I am thinking Jason spends way too much time in 7-Eleven. Like that's just outsider observing Jason. I'm sorry. You need to stop hanging out on 7-Eleven on Saturday nights, okay? It's getting to you.
I'm old and have nothing else to do.
This is a good one. I eat gas station nachos and gas station pizza and have never gotten COVID. Just saying. Well, Justin, for you and your sake, I'm really, really happy for you for that.
He also doesn't eat stuffing. There's a problem. It doesn't matter what else he does.
Yes, this is true. Movie nachos, 100, absolutely.
Yeah.
Coors Field nachos, also A+ nachos. So
yeah, well, they're also like $900.
Yeah, there is definitely a price increase for Coors Field nachos.
They better be fucking good if they're from Coors Field, because that's just got to be expensive.
Desperate times for desperate nachos. Yeah, I can see that as well, Barry. So we are up against the clock. This is 1 hour. Thank
you for watching Food Talk. I'm your host, Jake.
Thank you for watching the Foodie Network here. Real quick, Ryan, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Mike. Why don't you guys tell everybody where they can follow you, get your content, pick your brain for fantasy football stuff versus what you're eating for dinner on Thursday.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys. This was definitely a blast. The most food talk I've ever had on a podcast. Not even close. But you can find my work at DLF, dynastyleaguefootball.com. Also do some dynasty work for Roto World as well, and have a couple of podcasts out there, the DLF Dynasty podcast and the Locked On Dynasty podcast also. And find me on Twitter at RyanMC23.
Mike?
All right, guys, and thank you. Same thing. I had an absolute blast. What a fun Friday night. You can find me on Twitter at Daddy's Home FF. You can find all my work at joinourcircle_. Make sure you use the underscore or else you'll be in a knitting circle. Those ladies got our handle before we could. And I guess newly announced, you can find me on the Blitz every other Sunday now, right here on Sleeperwire. Starting this Sunday, I will be joining you guys every other Sunday to take all your start and sit questions on game days. So that'll be a fun thing to start doing. We did it as a guest spot 2 weeks ago. Apparently I didn't screw it up so bad because you guys invited me back for a permanent spot. So I'm stoked. So I'll see you guys on Sunday.
Ryan, I can't leave without posting this to the bottom here. It was one of the shows that you didn't mention that you did.
Yes.
It needs to come back. We need this in the worst of ways.
I would say, Scott and Franco and I have a group chat that we take part in. And I would say once a month, one of us will say, let's do a show. Let's just do a surprise show and not even talk about it. Let's just do it and post it.
Just do it.
And
I support this.
And it just hasn't happened. So the off season is definitely a better time for us with Scott running a million leagues and me trying to help him and do some other things as well. So hopefully, January, maybe February.
I will hold you to that. You heard it here. He's doing a show in January or February, or at least that's how I took that. Okay.
I took that way too.
All right. So for Dirty Jobs, doing all the dirty stuff behind the scenes, and for Jason at BFT Jason, I was your host this evening. You can follow me on Twitter at BFTG Pod. Until next Friday, when we have another special guest, we've got Mark Schofield lined up. So he'll be coming on, and we'll be talking to Mark. We'll probably find out what he did for Thanksgiving dinner. Until next week, thank you guys for watching, and have a wonderful weekend.